Before we begin, thank you very much to Rudy G for joining the Patreon campaign over at patreon.com/TJOmega. As always, I genuinely appreciate the help. It genuinely does keep the channel afloat, keeps me doing what I'm doing. Now, I try only to ask like $1 or $2 a month for my patrons because I'd rather do it that way. But if you can't swing that, hit like, hit subscribe. It's a very free way of helping me, and it does help me out a lot. So I appreciate that as well. Thank you guys. So, Hasbro did another Fan First Friday event. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Let's go through it and see all the new stuff we're getting, all the new reveals. Oh my god, it's so exciting. All right, we get a brand new Ironhide out of the Ratchet mold. No shock. No shock whatsoever. Looks good. Again, I like this take on Ironhide. I like this take on that design. Looks very Cybertronian, but still keeps a little bit of the feel of G1. Looks like a very solid, boxy figure. And surprised, like looking at the Ratchet version, it was hard to tell how it even transformed. It looks like it has a really solid transformation. This one is a little bit more revealing, thanks to the plastic layout. I can actually tell a little bit more. Like I can see his thighs on top and all that. Looking at the robot, looks good. You know, I still dig the Cybertronian designs in the Bumblebee movie. The upper thighs being red is a little bit weird, just like having that like weird band of color right there just below his pelvis. That's a little bit odd. Other than that, yeah, we've seen the figure before. Just it's red now, and it's a good color. It looks good as Ironhide, so happy with that one. And then Sludge. Studio Series Sludge got revealed, and wow, he is just a beast, literally and figuratively. Looks absolutely awesome. Very smooth beast mode. Really, really digging the look of our next Dinobot in the lineup. And robot mode, again, he looks very nice and solid. He does have the big shell wings, but that's pretty much accurate to design. Even in animation model, he had those, so not a big deal. Everything here looks quite nice. They did improve on the G1 design, where like in the G1 design, his front legs were just kind of like his robot mode arms just kind of tucked in underneath him, so that his arms didn't really hide. Now they're well hidden. It looks like it's the rear legs that become the arms now. So now I'm wondering where the front legs go. Uh, Again, like I love the twist ups to the engineering that they do on these Dinobots, and you'll notice no little mini guy this time, and you'll note it came right when we found out there was a increase in the budget, or increase in the toy prices coming up. I did tell people, I kept telling people, the only reason that they existed in Grimlock and Slag was for the sake of beefing up the budget on the toys, so that when they had to either take the budget down or increase the price, they would take that little minifigure out of the equation, and that way it saves them money without having to sacrifice from what the toy is doing, so they can all be the same aesthetic and the same build quality, even though it's going to take like 2 years to get all of them out. Panned out, it's panning out, so I'm not wrong here. And that's it. That's it. Now, it's an hour-long presentation, yes. Unfortunately, though, that's really it. That's all the new stuff they brought to the table. Literally it. They padded out the beginning of it, talking about the IDW comics, which everyone knows they're losing the license at the end of the year, so no one really cared. They padded out talking about the VR game that most of us will never get to play. They padded it out talking about another crossover, another collaboration with a mobile game you've never heard of. Geez, just put Bumblebee in Fortnite, it'd get you more attention. And then when it came to the actual toy reveals, Ironhide and Sludge are really the only new ones that we got. Out of everything else was either leaked or it was already shown off by retailers, or it's already out in some parts of the world. So let's go through the list here. Like, we go through like RC. I think this is the first time we got to see the toy. The last Fan First showed off the figure itself, like the overall design of what the figure was going to be. So this is the first time we got physical from Hasbro about it. She looks nice. I just did the RC video. I just did the RC video. And yeah, this actually does look like a nice RC. She's still got a hefty backpack, but she's using up some of her robot mode bulk to for the sake of the robot, for the sake of the vehicle mode rather. And yeah, and the vehicle mode does look interesting. It's not the sports car, it's not a bike, it's somewhere in between. And I think it's actually appropriate for a Cybertronian RC. You can imagine this going in either direction when she scans in Earth mode. And yeah, this is, like, you can see, like, it's a shell on top of her robot mode legs. But you know what? I don't mind the overall look of it. And it also looks mistransformed. Like, I can see right there where that tab is supposed to go into her thigh. So it looks like this is actually supposed to shore up a lot better than it is here. So I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and say it's going to look a little bit better than this. But it's a toy we've already known about because we saw the production photos for it before. And then we get into, like, Spike. I want to say people have already found Spike on a store shelf. I might be wrong about that, but I know it's in people's hands. I know we've seen all the photos of it. We know that it can spin the arms around for the gun modes. We know that it has rear wheels. We know all that. You know, we know that, yeah, all of this. The lever on the back, moving the head around, that's actually cool. So it has head articulation despite the dome. But yeah, we knew about Spike. What else we got? Junkyard. Knew about him. We've had in-hand photos for a while now. Looks fine. Still looks good. He looks like a Junkion. We knew about him. Sandstorm. Knew about him. Knew about him. I think Sandstorm might have been one of those where retailers gave it away. Though this is the first time we got to see it in legacy packaging. They are individually packaged. I thought we were getting another multi-pack of random otherworldly repaints and remolds, but apparently not. This might be the Walmart exclusives they were talking about. Man, it's a little bit fuzzy. A little bit fuzzy in my head. But yeah, this is going to see a retail shelf at some point. Night Prowler as well. We saw him. He's been leaked. Yeah, still. I don't know why I missed, when I talked about this the first time, I don't know why I missed the fact that all the blue was gone. So he's much closer. What he feels like, it looks like what it looks like is, it looks like they took the paint app and design from, like, the Walmart version and stripped it down even more. I need, yeah, like, now that it was pointed out to me, yeah, I need blue. I need some of the blue. And they painted the face that, like, dark cobalt blue. Where's the rest of it on the toy? Because that would look nice and break up some of this gray. But yeah, we knew about him. Buzzsaw, we knew about him. The only thing we found out about him is that these wings are still translucent green, but they painted them over black. And that pretty much explains why they are black instead of his original colors, because it hides the translucent green best. So we got to have that. It still looks nice, but yeah, we've already seen it. Scorponok has been on retail shelves somewhere. I want to say someone found one at Walmart. I want to say that has had an American sighting. And now they're just revealing it like it's a huge new thing that they're springing on us. And it's not. We know. We know. We know. I mean, it looks good. I mean, I think I heard someone say Walmart's charging $50 for it, which that's a little steep. That's a little steep, considering it's one size class smaller than Optimus Prime was. You know, or Optimus Primal and Megatron. You think of the size of Megatron and the size of Scorponok as toys, and they're going to be the same price at retail? Pfft. Yeah, no. I might wait for him to go on clearance. I want him though. I don't $50 want him. Tigatron, it's the Takara colors, which is good, but again, people have this in hand. B127 with a normal Bumblebee head. We knew this one. We knew this was coming out. This is not a surprise either. There. And then, yeah, Cliffjumper, he was already shown off. Cup, already shown off. What else? I think this is another one of those where, but of course, I've seen this too. Because I can remember seeing all of his weapons and drills and all that. He looks good, but again, I've seen it. I've seen it all. Someone pointed out on Twitter. I got it from tfu.info. Came from Swede Robot Fish originally. RC, Ironhide, Junkyard, Sludge, Spike, Buzzsaw, Night Prowler, Sandstorm, Scorponok, Tigatron, Knockout, Magnus, a red Magnus as well, B127, Cup, and Cliff Jumper. And all of them have been revealed, released, or leaked in one way or another, except for Sludge and Ironhide. This is incredibly disappointing. Incredibly. Now, to be fair, it's not Hasbro's fault that a bunch of people stole toys out of the factory and paid exorbitant price for them for the sake of YouTube clout. That's not their fault. In a way, it kind of is. Like, this stuff is... There is contracts and stuff like this. Like when they sign a contract with a factory producing these, they would have a confidentiality clause. They would have something in the contract that says you cannot reveal what you are showing off here. The difference is, the thing about it is Hasbro is just, they don't want to go through the expense and the time it would take to transfer factories as punishment for, like, well, you let your employees leak this material, we're pulling our license because you invalidated it. That would be too costly, too time consuming, especially right now. They really can't do anything about it as of this moment, which is unfortunate, because it really does hold things up. And it really does, like, take the wind out of things like this. Hasbro here is legitimately trying to put on something for fans to give us, like, a first look at some really good stuff that's coming up. But none of it is surprising because we saw it all coming. I think really, like, really, we knew we were getting the rest of the Dinobots and Studio series. We knew. I think the only one that would be any kind of surprise to us is Snarl, because he technically wasn't in the movie aside from just a couple background shots. Ironhide, again, I think we knew about. Same as RC. We saw production photos. It's just the first time we got to actually see it. And it's a Ratchet repaint, so of course we were going to see it. I would argue nothing in here is a reveal or a surprise in any way, shape, or form. All of this is stuff we either knew was coming out or has already been released or something we expected. There's absolutely nothing that went on in this Fan First Friday that actually came out. Now, when you call it Fan First Friday, like, immediately you're setting yourself up for disaster, because they know that it's been leaked. They know it's been teased. Like, they had to know before they hit live on this stream. Someone in this conversation had to go, well, we've got a few things left. I mean, someone, had to know. They started this Zoom call knowing full well they weren't giving us anything new. It's what Hasbro Legal said they could reveal, and none of it's really that special. I think it highlights just the problem Hasbro has, not only in controlling what's going on in the factories that they work with, but also their own communication line is just so messed up. Because, of course, we know, like, as soon as those come off the factory floor, those get mailed off to Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and they get to see all this firsthand, the prototypes, the in-package stuff. They sit on it, though. They sit on it for months. And I understand why. I understand why they don't show off things until a certain point. They have to know for a fact that everything on the production line is going the way it's supposed to. They have to know that everything that they have on the figure is the way it's supposed to be. They could show off prototypes if they wanted to. They could show off, the hand-painted resins. We've seen that in the past. They've shown off hand-painted resins. They need to be faster at this. They need to be willing to show off things well ahead of their release. And, like, when they first get them in hand, that's when they need to do the Fan First Friday. Not when it's already in mass production. Not when people have already gotten it in hand. Certainly not when retailers have revealed it or even released it. They need to be more willing to show things off as they get them in. And they're trying here, but they had to know they had nothing of substance for this entire thing. They had to have known, and they still went forward with it. They still did it. The one takeaway I had from this, was they did talk engineering of some of these figures. And yes, as many people pointed out to me, they did talk translucent plastic. So, Cup here has no translucent plastic. He is all solid molded. Apparently, if I gather this correctly, Cliffjumper is still translucent plastic built, but his windows were painted over to make him look cartoon accurate. And they actually told people, give us feedback. What do you think between solid windows and clear windows? And our arguments on clear windows was it adds depth to the toy. Okay, fine. And it makes the toy look more high end. Like they think it makes it look cheap when the toys don't have translucent plastic. And they pointed out how Combiner Wars didn't have any translucent plastic, and I'm like, yeah, they were great. Your only issue with Combiner Wars was it got too repetitive. But beyond that, like, everything in that toy line was great. And you know what? I haven't had any toys from that line break on me, so I didn't mind it. But they actually asked fans for feedback, like, which do you prefer? Okay. So, since you want feedback, Hasbro, hey, come here, pull it in. Let me whisper it to you. Stop using it. Yes, it adds depth to the toy. What depth am I getting? I'm getting a crunched up robot that I can see inside the vehicle. It's breaking my immersion. If we're going to be real about this, it's breaking my immersion to see that this toy car has a bunch of crumpled up robot mode parts inside of it. So it's not really disguising anymore, is it? That's another reason I prefer opaque windows. And then they even talked about this in the stream. Okay, had to go back to Mumblebee for this. They actually did talk about how difficult it is for them to paint yellow over translucent blue plastic because it never comes out right. It always looks different because the yellow doesn't hide the color underneath. And guess what? Hey, I hate that too. They want to keep using clear plastic windows because they think it makes the toy look cheap to have solid painted windows. You know what else makes the toy look cheap? Is when it comes in multiple shades of yellow because you couldn't get the colors to match between all your materials. You look at the Origin Bumblebee toy I did a review of. That toy alone has 3 different shades of yellow going on, and none of that is intentional. It's the palm plastic, the ABS plastic, and the painted yellow that all come out different shades because they can't get them exactly the same. And it's super frustrating. And to hear that frustration coming from one of the people who actually has to deal with that on a professional level, oh, I love it. I love hearing that there is resentment within Hasbro for this stuff. You know what else makes your toy look cheap? When it breaks within a month of owning it. When you have a whole bunch of people on Twitter pointing out the cracks and the breaks they have in their Studio Series Jazz toy, all because they had translucent plastic hinges that were too thin and too poorly made. It just drives me nuts. It drives me absolutely nuts. And they know it. They know translucent plastic has issues, and they're still not doing anything about it. But they did ask. They asked people, what do you think? They in this little Q&A here, in this little, well, not Q&A, but in this little designer roundtable, they actually asked, what do you think? Do you prefer the clear? Do you prefer the solid? If they're asking, let them know. I made a whole video about this. Let them know. The translucent plastic has to go. Because I'm so looking forward to this cup. I'm not looking now. Now I'm like worried about this. I wanted this. Now I'm like, I guess it's the same clear plastic no matter which clip jumper I own, huh? But yeah, but that's just an aside. That's my personal pet peeve coming up in an official Transformer thing. Like the only thing that would have like blown my mind more is to say like, like there's this one jackass on YouTube just decided to make it his life's goal to get us to stop using this stuff. What do you guys think? Didn't not going that far. Yeah, but Fanverse has a problem. The next time they do this, it's got to have major stuff drop. They've got to actually show off real things that we never heard of, things that we haven't seen, or at the very least things that we've been speculating on. You know, like we have listings for toys that we'd really like to peek at, and you know they have them. They have prototypes, they have design images, they have something they could show off. They just don't for whatever reason. Okay, well, man, this was a cool shot. This was a cool shot, seeing the 3 original Dinobots together. Okay, that was cool. That was cool, I will admit that. I know. In a way, like, I feel bad for these guys because they're just out there to shill. They're just out there to promote the product, and they have to go out there knowing full well that they're not showing off anything new, anything that fans don't already know about. At the same time, I really, really, really get frustrated when like there's ways that they themselves could be solving this, and then they just choose not to. Yeah, Hasbro, you got to be more forthcoming. You got to be more willing to show off your stuff faster than this. If you want to beat those stolen toy reviewers on YouTube, if you want to beat all those leaks, you got to be willing to put yourself out there first. I know there's legal ramifications. I know there's production ramifications to this. But I think it's worth taking the risk to keep the audience informed and to keep people from going to other places, because that means they control your narrative. And that's not what you want, you know? And then just talking professionally here, like someone from Hasbro is actually listening to me, you know? But yeah. So that's really the breakdown here. I mean, all this stuff, like we've already talked about this on this channel. We don't really care about any of this. More or less, this was an excuse to talk about the problems that FanFirst has, and it's time to reel it in. So what do you guys think? Did you enjoy the FanFirst, or am I like on the ball here and like there was like a major problem with the fact that there's only 2 of these toys that are actual reveals here, and the rest is just like whatever? Let me know in the comments below, and next time, I have no idea what next time is, but that's the fun part about my channel these days. Nobody knows what the next thing is, but I hope I will see you there. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.